Shalom Yasharala, this is Yeshaya with a Car Chronicle. On this Car Chronicle, I want to talk to y'all about a few things. To begin with, if you are a brother that understands that we don't know the time when we're out of here, then this video is not for you. If you're a brother that knows and understands that because we don't know the time, we really can't say, oh, we're out of here next year. So you plan and you live your life accordingly, then that's fine. This video is not gonna do anything for you. Who this video is for brothers that fail to plan and fail to, and when I say plan, we know that you can plan, but the Most High does what he does. And what the Most High does is a mystery to us. So I'm not in any way, shape, or form telling y'all, yeah, plan to be here another 50 years, but there's a concept of, don't do shit, in this kingdom, or try to accomplish or achieve nothing in this kingdom, because it's going to be destroyed. Yes, it's going to be destroyed. But it doesn't mean to just completely become a lazy shit. And I'm not calling nobody personally lazy, but we have to understand that life and things are happening while we're here. There was just an earthquake in New Jersey just a few minutes ago. Life as it can be flipped upside down, where the things that I'm telling you to do in this video are going to be null and void at some point, right? When this thing comes, it's going to be a lot of changes to your life. But what I'm saying is, I came into truth in 2000. There were men in this truth well before I came in this truth that have passed away. In the past 24 years of life, I've had to bury brothers. I've had brothers or known of brothers that were homeless. I've had brothers that really just have had a variety of different situations and problems, all stemming, or a lot stemming from lack of preparedness. So, I'm going to do for you, you brothers that do have that mentality, what in many ways wasn't done for me. And it's not that my elders at the time were bad elders, but I think a lot of us, because this is not a faith that a lot of people have been practicing since they were born, we're playing catch up. I came into this truth at 20. Had I came into this truth at 0, had I been born into this truth, there's a lot of things that I would have learned growing up that I had to learn later in life. Picture a person that doesn't know how to play football, learning how to play football, starting at 30 years old. I'm just scaling because, at 20 years old, you're still close enough to the age where you start playing football anyway. But let's say you start playing at 30, right? So that's kind of coming into truth at 20, what that is in your life. Like, you have to relearn so much, right? So one thing that I urge brothers to do, if you do not have identification, go out and get identification. Whatever the fuck you have to do, whatever other paperwork you have to straighten out. In my case, it was hard to get identification because, believe it or not, I'm an immigrant. And we're going to talk about immigration later. But because I'm an immigrant, and I'm not from Puerto Rico, because I don't even think that they're considered immigrants. My birth certificate is in Spanish. And I had a green card, but the green card had a child's picture on it. It had me when I was probably 5-6 years old, maybe younger. So it was difficult for me to get regular motor vehicles identification. I didn't get my ID till I was about 32, 33 years old. I didn't get my license till about 5 or 6 years after that. I haven't even been driving 10 years. And so it's very important to get identification. If you get locked up, you know that they treat you different. Not that they treat you in a sense of, they'll beat you up and not beat up the people with IDs. But if you don't have identification, how are they going to fucking know who you are? You might be a murderer wandering the streets, and you might be already in the system where they're looking for you, right? That's what their mentality is. So of course they're going to have to do extra shit that might delay the process. You already know, anybody that has ever been locked up. I remember being locked up at least a week after I was told my charges were dismissed. And it had nothing to do with that, but I'm telling y'all how slow that process is to get you out of jail. It's easy to get in, it's hard to get out. And then in that process, the feds took the case. You know what I'm saying? That's how but you don't want to be in the system without identification. You need to have identification. What if you get hit by a fucking car? Lord forbid. How the fuck are they gonna know who you are? How are they gonna notify next of kins and all that shit? You have to have identification, man. If you're a grown ass man in your mid-20s to anything older, come the fuck on, man. You're already in the system. Your parents put you in the system when they gave you a birth certificate. Grow the fuck up, get some ID. Jobs or income. Brothers need income. You can't sustain life. And one of the most annoying things when I talk to brothers that I see as a problem is brothers that don't have income. Because their problems become your problems. Don't live above your means, but have some type of income. Have a business. Have a job. But don't beat don't beat people's heads with that. Oh, I don't work for the white man shit. You might not work for the white man, but you likely are getting welfare. And welfare just basically means you have no more or no less every month. But basically you have someone else controlling how and when and how much you can do for yourself. So have fucking income. Make money. This is not a free ride. We've had brothers, and I told y'all, I go back 24 years in this truth. We used to have brothers that came to camp every week, and it was almost guaranteed that they would ask for money. And they didn't hit the pot. They didn't ask for for brothers to take up a collection. They'll go to the one that they think that got money. And if you know what I'm saying? If you was in that camp that I was part of, who's the one that they fucking went to for money all the time. Bank accounts. You should have a bank account if you're even alive, let alone in this truth. All that shit about, I don't like banks. Nobody fucking likes banks. But having a bank account means you can do things with your money that you got places that don't even take cash anymore. And now you gotta have change and all that shit. Get a fucking bank account, bro. I was talking to a brother that was going through so many different inconveniences, and at the end of the shit, I came to find out, based on talking to him, he didn't have a bank account. A man that is over 25 years old, I had to tell him, bro, have a bank account next time I see you, bro. This is why you're going through all the shit you're going through. You don't have a bank account. I get none of us trust Esau. But that's why you have online banking. You can see what the fuck your money, who's taking what. But that's crazy not to have a bank account and be a grown man. So have a bank account. Another thing I would say to brothers is have a credit card. Now, you can deny this. You don't have to have a credit card. It's not one of those basic necessity things, but you should have at least one credit card. If an emergency comes up and it's something that you need money for and you don't have the money, that's what credit is for. You pay it back in increments. You know, you pay it back monthly. You know, yes, you have interest. Sometimes you can sign up for a credit card and they'll tell you no interest for the first year. And that's beautiful. But try never to use more than 30% of that credit card. So in other words, if you have a credit card limit of, say, $500, try never to use more than $150 on that credit card, because now it's going to impact your credit score. And yes, brothers should be mindful of their credit score. Your credit score can affect you getting a fucking apartment, a house, a car, a lot of shit you need to have credit for. So be mindful of your credit score. That's another thing that I have to tell you, brothers. Be mindful of it. It doesn't mean obsess over it. You know, download fucking Credit Karma and let that shit tell. Although Credit Karma is not, when I say not accurate, it's not that it's not accurate. It's not to the date. So let's say you have credit cards, right? I have a lot of credit cards and I have 2 cars in my name. Not that I use everything, but a lot of stuff is in my name. So let's say one of the 3 bureaus, Credit Karma only deals with 2 bureaus, but let's say one of them reports on the 15th, the other one reports on the 20th of every month, right? And let's say you make a payment on the 21st of the month for the one that's on the 20th. They won't know for a whole month, or that payment won't be reflected for a whole month. So it's not to the date, but it is more or less accurate. You know, and you have to be mindful of it. You have to be mindful of your credit score, because like I said, it can impact a lot. Now, also, I mentioned getting a car. Every brother in here should, in this truth, and sisters too, this isn't sexist. This is anybody in Israel should be capable of driving. Whether you have a car, maybe you're saving up for one, everybody should, for the most part, unless you live close enough to everything that you need to get to, everybody should be capable of driving. At least have a license, even if you don't have a car. You know, that you might be called upon, you might be needed to drive, or even move a car. You know, maybe there's street cleaning and your parents left the car on the wrong side of the street, you know, whatever. Because that's happened to me before. Have the capability to drive, and if you possibly can, have a car. Or have access to a car. And by that I mean, like, you know, so some of y'all might not have a car, but your wife does or your girlfriend does. You know, if you have access to it where, you know, you may be needed to transport something, and by that I mean something legal, not, you know, like let's say it's a holy day and you know, brother lives next door to you is in the camp, you know, needs to send drinks or something, or his wife made something for the holy day or whatever, you know, you can take it. You know what I mean? But everybody should have the capability to drive in Israel. Health insurance. If you get sick, if you hurt yourself, you know, you don't want to go to the fucking hospital and have to put it on your credit card. You know, you should have a credit card, but, you know, you should have health insurance. Everybody in this truth should have health insurance. Health insurance is almost as important as freaking eating, honestly. Health insurance is very important. You know, everybody should have health insurance. You know, you can't go into this world ill prepared. Life insurance. This one's very important too. This one's not mandatory. I'm not going to say you have to absolutely get life insurance. If your mom wants to have a fish fry if you die, and if your camp and your family wants to have a fucking GoFundMe account, be my guest. But otherwise, everybody should have health insurance. Try to get access to it. I mean, life insurance, rather. Both, health and life insurance. Also, no brother should be riding dirty. Everybody should have a car. And everybody should have insurance on that car. Don't be driving without a license. You know, the simple things that are like you would think is common sense, a lot of people really don't do. Health insurance, life insurance, keep track of your credit score. You know, these are things like, you know, like life insurance. I'm gonna give y'all a personal testimony. I remember going to Bun Lawyer's funeral. One of the first speakers was a brother that I've known for some years named Ibaria. And Ibaria said something that at the time, I'm like, why the fuck is he saying this at a funeral? I didn't say it to nobody. I said it to myself. But I was like, why the fuck is he talking about fucking life insurance? We're at a funeral. Talk about the man that's deceased. But later on in life, I realized, like, yo, what he said was a jewel. It was precious information he was giving me. Well, giving us. It was everybody. And, you know, it's something to think about. If you die, Lord forbid, you know, you want, you know, you don't want everybody to scramble last minute, you know, like we have in a lot of cases when people have died, and try to scramble for money. You know, that's the last thing you want to worry about. You know, when you're in this truth, you know, nobody wants to die, right? But you have to be prepared for death. Last thing that I want to talk about is, I did mention bank account. Bank accounts is one thing I wanted to talk about. With bank accounts, everybody that has a bank account, especially if you have a substantial amount of money in it, name somebody that you trust. And I'm talking about not your camp leader, nigga. Somebody that you trust as a beneficiary. Whether it's a offspring, your children, your wife, or if your camp leader is really that trustworthy. I'm not saying mine ain't. I'm just saying, you know, you have people that are close to you in life. You know, because the information is not universal. I can't tell everybody their camp leaders are trustworthy. But I'm saying, you know, put somebody as a beneficiary that you know will put the money where it has to go. You know, and last but not least, I'm going to talk about immigration. I'm an immigrant my damn self. And I can tell y'all that there are things that I've been denied in life because of my immigration status. Not so much the status, but my lack of paperwork. My lack of paperwork. Fucking go, man. Shit. Salak. You know, certain documentations and shit. Like just a couple of years ago, I applied to renew my green card. And just last month, I applied for my citizenship. You'd be surprised how much shit you get, how difficult it is to move around in life if you're an undocumented citizen. Especially me, because I've always been documented. I just had a old ass picture on my green card. But anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom, and please follow what I said, Israel, because a lot of us are too fucking old to be dealing with the inconveniences of not having our paperwork straight. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.